Okay, so should we start? Is it fine for you, Thomas?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to this information session. My name is Lisa Braval, and I work in the EFSA Grant and Procurements team. And with me today, I have Sibran Voss, Alice Del Bianco, and Tomasz Kaluski from the EFSA Plants unit, who will present the two grants today. And before we start the information session, I would just like to inform you that this session is being recorded and will be published on the EFSA website after this meeting. And during the meeting, you have the possibility to publish questions in the chat, and questions will be answered either via the chat or after the presentation. And if you make any questions that we are not able to answer in this moment, we will publish a complete question and answer on the EFSA website after this information session. And with this, I give the floor to Sibran, who will introduce the topic of today. Please, Sibran.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa, and good morning, everyone. We are not very numerous, so it is going to be the advantage to the persons that are there that we will have more availability for their questions. So all welcome. I'm very happy that you are there. We had requested to have this info session on the different grants for the simple reason that we wanted to ensure that we have a higher response rate to our different requests for partnership with member states. So I will go through the general presentation. My colleagues Alice Del Bianco here present and Thomas will present in detail the different the contents of the different grants that are the object of this meeting. So just very quick introductions for the ones that might not know. We in EFSA are dealing with the topic of plant health, and we are basically dealing with it in two different groups, separate groups. One is dealing particularly with the risk assessment activities, and our team, where Alice, Thomas, and myself belong, we deal with the plant health monitoring activities. That include emerging risk, media and literature monitoring. They include the prioritization of quarantine pests and also the activity of pest surveillance that is of our interest today with the related surveillance toolkit. So who are we basically in the activity of pest surveillance? You can see we are four scientific officers involved, with one amongst which one seconded national expert from a member state. We have also one trainee. So as you can understand, this is very few people to deal with the very ambitious project that has been mandated to us on pest surveillance. So we are accompanied in this activity by two working groups of experts that contribute to this work. We are also having multitude of collaborations in-house in EFSA on the methodology development, on the IT support, on the communications. But mainly we count on partnerships that we build with outsourcing activities with the member states, with Article 36 organizations, and that is why we bring it forward today. So to deliver our outputs, we approximately deliver 30-40 pest survey cards per year. We deliver tools, guidelines, trainings, webinars, etc. We cannot do it alone. We really need partnership with the member states. And so the purpose of this meeting today is to give you a bit more insight on the two different calls that are currently ongoing. And Alice will talk on the first one that is on the screen that deals with the preparation of pest survey cards for four different groups of host plants. And Thomas will deal with more methodological aspects on the estimation of pest survey parameters for designing surveys for priority pests. So, as I said before, the purpose of this webinars mainly to improve our outreach with the member states, and it is in particular because the surveillance is performed at member state level. That means that we cannot do this work alone, isolated from member states. We need to build together with you partnerships, and therefore we have in EFSA this Article 36 organizations where we are so keen to use the competence that you have in-house, the experience that you have built with the time on surveillance, and the capacity that you have built in time. And therefore we need to collaborate together to build more fit-for-purpose tools, more fit-for-purpose outputs. That fit-for-purpose means useful for you and applicable by you, and more effective, so more maybe simplified tools, maybe more adjusted to your real needs. We need to understand your needs to be able to translate that into the work that we are doing. And we want to have more adaptive methods to be able to cover the very big variability or diversity we have in the EU. And for that, as I said, we want to use this privileged channel we have for collaboration that is embedded in our founding regulation, that is about Article 36, with competent organizations in the field of plant health. And I wanted also to add here that the type of grants that we are launching nowadays are a simplified form of grants, and the two grants object of this meeting are exactly in this format. They are result-based grants, and they are the financing of these grants is based on the achievement of results, and it's not based on the cost consumption. So that brings with it a lot of administrative advantages for both of us, for EFSA and for the beneficiaries. In particular, there is no co-financing principles that is applicable here. The non-profit principles are also not applicable. You don't need to reflect on the budget, or the estimated budget is a fixed value that we are proposing. And the concept of eligible or non-eligible costs is not longer relevant, as opposed to the previous type of grants that we were launching. The payments at the end will be done upon approval of the deliverables that we will receive from the contractor. That means that we don't need on our side to make complex calculations on costs, and we don't need to have to submit a financial statement of the project. So now let's go to the topic itself. So here, I think many of you, because we're not that numerous in the room, but many of you have already seen this presentation, these slides and this presentation. I just wanted to introduce here why we do surveillance. So when we have an invasion, we have here a curve that shows how the pest how the pest prevalence is building up into a receiving environment. So after its introduction, we have in this curve an exponential growth, first a lag phase and an exponential growth, and then a plateau that is reached by the pest prevalence that corresponds to the carrying capacity of the receiving environment. So the public and the land managers and the impacts are already visible to the different actors in agriculture or actors in the field during the exponential growth. So the more we wait, the more costly the control will be. This is what this curve shows. Basically, our target with surveillance is to find the pest as soon as possible after its introduction, is to detect the pest as soon as possible after its introduction. In that manner, surveillance could be considered as a cheap activity compared to the control that would be incurred by not detecting it at early stages. So why we need a survey? Because we cannot visit each one of the host plants in an area. That means that we need to estimate the sample size. To be able to estimate the sample size, we need to have a method that can help us to understand if the sample is representative of the area that we want to survey, of the host plants that we want to survey. We also need to understand if that sample size allows us to infer the conclusions we will make on this sample to the entire population. And for doing so, in EFSA, we have used the knowledge that was and the international standards that is available in different fields, and we have developed a methodological framework that we have embedded into our pest surveillance toolkit. So the pest surveillance process basically deals with different steps, amongst which the most important ones that we are focusing on in our work are the preparation and the design of the survey. During the preparation of the survey, we want to know what is the pest that we are looking for, where we can find it, where we have more chances to find it, and what are the methods that are most adapted for doing this activity. So when should I look for a pest and with what method? And the first grant proposal, or the first grant that is ongoing that Alice will present, is about this aspect. The second part is, once we have prepared the survey and we know more about the pest, the population where we can find the pest, the target population, and we have characterized also the method for detection and identification, then we want to know how much effort we need to do, what is the sample size, what is the sample that we need to analyze to be able to design a statistically sound survey. And this aspect is mainly dealt with by the grant that is going to be presented by Thomas. So I'm not going to talk about this in detail, but I just wanted to mention that this pest survey toolkit is finally an articulation of a whole series of tools that we are developing to help the member state, to assist them, not to make the life more complex, but to make sure that we are able to perform robust surveys that are comparable in time, that are comparable across regions. And if we are able to do that, we would achieve our goal. It is a very difficult exercise because of the different administrative structure of the areas, geographical differences, ecological difference in the different areas of the EU. Therefore, this toolkit pretends to help in adjusting the information that you have into a framework that makes the surveys comparable in time and in space. As you can see on the right side of this slide, there is a mandate that we are working on now. It's more about the training, etc. But this is another topic, and to be able to train further people, we need first to build, construct together with member states this partnership to ensure that we are able to have fit-for-purpose outputs. And all the toolkit, and Alice will explain more about that, all the tools that are in the toolkit, all the work that we are doing on pest surveillance are available going to this index of pest surveillance. In this index, you will find all the pest survey cards, you will find all didactical materials, you will find guidelines, statistical tools, etc. So I wanted just to show you that today we are collaborating with a number of organizations, of Article 36 organizations already in this pest surveillance project. And here on this slide, you can see already numerous institutions that you might be familiar with that are collaborating with us and working with us on different on preparation of surveys, on development of the method, etc. So I hope that in the future you will be able also to join us and that you will be motivated to participate to these calls. So maybe now I can give the floor to Alice. Thank you very much for the attention.
Okay, so good morning. So I'm going to present our call on the development of crop-based survey tools for plant pests of fruit-bearing vegetables, cereals and fiber crops, grape, berries and exotic fruits, palms and ornamentals in the EU. So the objective of this call is to identify Article 36 organizations to support EFSA in the preparation of outputs related to our PEST survey project that Sibren briefly explained. Indeed, following a mandate of the European Commission, we have worked since 2018 on this project, and we developed a methodological framework to support the member state in the preparation and design of statistically sound risk-based surveys. All our outputs are available in this index that I will show you briefly. And EFSA has been requested by the European Commission to further assist scientifically and technically the member state in the plant PEST surveys. Our toolkit, so we receive very positive feedback on our toolkit from the member states. So it seems that our outputs are very useful for them, but for us it's also very important to collaborate with the member state in the development of our outputs. That's why we launched this call for Article 36 organization. So I'm going to exit from the PowerPoint. Okay, so I would like to show you quickly our toolkit. And so our toolkit is composed by several outputs, survey cards, guidelines, statistical tools, and other outputs. So in order to retrieve all our outputs, we developed a useful index that you can navigate and in which you can retrieve all our outputs. For example, for PEST survey cards, you can retrieve all our survey cards that have been published so far by searching by the name of the PEST, taxonomic groups, or main host plants, or by regulation. And there is also a video that explains what is a PEST survey card. So basically, a PEST survey card is a technical document, a technical report that include all the information needed by the risk managers in order to design a survey for a quarantine or a regulated pest. So it includes the information on what, where, how, and when survey for a specific pest. I will show you quickly one of the most recent survey cards that we have published. Very recently, is the survey card on anisogram anomala. So each survey card is divided in several sections. We have an abstract, a general introduction, and then 4 main sections. The first one is on the pest and its biology. Sorry, I have to scroll down. So the section on pest and biology includes information on the taxonomy, on the EU regulatory status of this pest. And after each subsection, there is also a conclusion box that summarizes the main information of that subsection. Then a section on pest distribution, and a section on the disease and life cycle of the pest. The second section is on the target population. So this section includes all the relevant information needed to characterize the population of host plants to target in the survey. It includes information on the host range and the main host in the EU. A subsection on the environmental suitability that includes information on climatic conditions and also on the host availability in the EU. A subsection on the spread capacity that is divided among natural and human-assisted spread. And a section on the identification risk factors, that are factors that increase the probability of infestation by the pest in the area of interest. And usually here we include a couple of examples of risk factors or risk activities. Then the third section is on the detection and we include also an image that is an example on how to structure the target population. So we provide an example, a visual example. So starting from the survey area, we can identify epidemiological units, risk areas, and then our inspection units that are usually the individual host plants. The third section is on the detection and identification. We list and include the methods to be used in the field to detect and identify the pest. Those methods can be visual examination of the symptoms or of the pest itself, trapping in case of insects, and also information on the sample collection and on the timing in which we have to perform the detection and identification in the field. And then after the field, after the samples have been collected, we go to the lab. And so we include information on the methods to be used in the lab to detect and identify the pest. Those methods are usually morphological identification and lab testing, such as serological or molecular testing. And finally, we have a section on conclusions in which we include a table that summarizes the main information included in the survey card, and again, the image that provides an example of the target population. So all our survey cards are available online, and you can retrieve them by navigating in our index. So I go back to the presentation. EFSA is requested to prepare pest survey cards for all the EU quarantine pests, protected zone pests, and emergency pests for which there are emergency measures in place, and to further develop tools and methods to assist the member state in planning and execution of surveys for those pests. So the main objective of this call is to identify organizations to support us in characterizing 4 crops that are the 4 crops included in the 4 lots affected by regulated pests, and in preparing the pest survey cards for the pests affecting those 4 crops that are fruit-bearing vegetables, cereals and fiber crops, grape, berries and exotic fruits, and palms and ornamentals. So we can have a look in detail to the 4 lots. The first one is on pests affecting fruit-bearing vegetables. We identified 25 pests affecting this crop. That are listed in this table. There is 1 bacterium, 13 insects, 5 nematodes, and 6 viruses. The host plants are mainly Solanaceae and Cucurbitaceae, such as cucumber, pepper, tomato, eggplants, and many more. The maximum amount for this lot is 170,000 euros, and the duration is 24 months, starting from the kickoff meeting. The second lot is on pests affecting cereals and fiber crops. Here we have we identify 8 pests, 2 bacteria, 3 fungi, 1 insect, and 2 nematodes. There is also this group of nematodes, the Hirschmaniella species, and host plants are cotton, rice, and wheat. The maximum amount is 80,000 euro, and the duration is 12 months. The third lot is on pests affecting grape, berries, and exotic fruits. There are 7 pests for this lot, 1 bacterium, 5 insects, and 1 virus. There is also in the insects the group of Margarodidae. And the host plants are grape, strawberries, raspberry, mango, banana, and others. Maximum amount is 80,000 euro, and the duration is 12 months. The fourth lot is on pests affecting palms and ornamentals. We identify 9 pests, 1 bacterium, 1 fungus, 6 insects, and 1 virus. The host plants are palms and ornamentals, and the maximum amount is 90,000 euro for 12 months. So for each of those 4 lots, we ask to prepare for deliverables. The first one is an Excel spreadsheet, a database, indicating for each pest the list of host plant species affected and the detection and identification methods that can be applied to detect and identify the pest. The second deliverable is an Excel spreadsheet and a short technical report to characterize the crop. So, which include information on the plant species, phenology, cultivation practices, climate suitability, and the distribution of the host plants in the EU. The regulation affecting those plant species and commodities. Data on trade and import of those commodities in the EU, and also the list of regulated pests that can be hosted by the crop. So when we start to prepare the survey cards in 2018, we prepare individual survey cards. Now we are trying to group them by crop, and this characterization of the crop would be very important in order to identify the target population of each pest. The third deliverable will be a web meeting in which the contractors have to present us the deliverable 2, and also to propose a delivery plan of pest survey cards targeting the pest of each lot. Indeed, we do not ask specifically to prepare one survey card for each pest, but the pest listed in each lot can be also grouped based on different rationalities. So this is something that the contractor has to think about and to propose us. The first deliverable is the preparation of the pest survey cards according to the delivery plan presented in the deliverables 3. So here there is the link to the call that is published in the EFSA website. The deadline is 28th of April, and for any question, doubt, you can contact our colleagues in EFSA procurement team. So with this I finished, and I give the floor to you, Thomas.
Good morning. So I will present the second grant that focuses on the pest survey parameters. But before I will describe the details of the call, few words of the explanation. So when you plan the survey, you have to consider 3 components, 3 elements: pest, host plants, and methods. And let's start from the pest. So the information about the pest comes from the survey cards, which were described by Alice. But to design the survey, statistically sound and risk-based, we need to assess or calculate 3 key parameters. One of them is the design prevalence, which is the minimum prevalence that the survey will detect with a given confidence level. The confidence level usually is decided by the pest risk managers. The second parameter that is needed to design this type of surveillance is relative risk that is connected to the host plant, which is our usually target population. So within this target population, within the population of the host plants, we can identify the risk areas or risk locations. Sometimes it might be many, more than one. So we have to somehow compare them. So for each of the risk factor and risk location, we need to assess the relative risk that is compared among them and compared to the baseline area. And the third element is the method that we are going to use to detect and identify the pest. And usually we have there two components: the field part, which is the sampling method, and the laboratory part, that is the detection and identification. And here in this call, we focus on the field part, so the sampling sensitivity, because for the methods using in laboratory, we have already many procedures and methods to calculate the sensitivity of the lab methods. With this grant, we have two lots for which you can apply separately. So for each lot, you can apply for one or for both. And the same is for the previous grant presented by Alice. There were 4 lots, but you can apply only for one or different combinations. So the first lot is the preparation of experimental and statistical protocols to quantify key survey parameters. And here we think about the local scale. So we would like to prepare the procedure that can be used by member states to assess or to calculate the designed prevalence, the sampling sensitivity, and relative risk. The other call focuses on collection of evidence in preparation of expert knowledge elicitation, method sensitivity, and design prevalence. And this lot focuses on the more global or broader usage of these parameters. So we are asking here the contractor to prepare the data sheets based on which we can prepare and execute the expert knowledge elicitation, which will give us the distribution of those two parameters, and the member state, the user, who is planning the survey, can somehow put himself or the member state along this distribution curve, depending on the resources they have. So let's focus. Let's go deeper into the lots. The first lot for the protocols has 3 tasks. The first one is to develop an approach and to group pests for application of an appropriate protocol. We are focusing on priority pests, which we have 20 now, and we are asking to prepare the protocols that can be used not only for those 20 pests, but also in the future for new pests which can be added or replaced in the list. So that's why we are asking here to group somehow the pests so we don't ask for 20 protocols for 20 pests. We ask for the protocols that can be used for groups or different combinations of the pests. The second task is to design protocols themselves for each group identified in the task 1. And the first experimental protocol is for estimation of method sensitivity. The second one for estimation of design prevalence, and the third one for estimation of relative risks that I have explained before. The third task is piloting of the protocols for minimum of 2 priority pests or groups as an example. So we would like to ask you to check whether the protocols designed by you or by the contractor will work in the real life. The maximum budget for this task is 246,000 euros, and duration is 24 months from kick-off meeting. The lot number 2, collection of evidence in preparation of expert knowledge elicitation on method sensitivity and design, has also 3 tasks. The first one is design of template of datasheet to enable expert knowledge elicitation to elicit the method sensitivity and design prevalence. And here we are expecting the template that can be used for all priority PEST and all future possible priority PEST. The second task, we are asking to gather available data sets and models for priority PEST that are available in the scientific literature today. And the last one, the third task, is to provide data sheets for 20 or 25 PEST. We have put here 25 as in other mandate. Commission will review the priority PEST, and we don't know whether there will be only 20 or more. The maximum budget available for this lot is 144,000 euros, and also the duration is 24 months from the kickoff meeting. And as Alice said, if you have any question, you can contact our procurement team via the web page, and they will for sure answer your questions. So thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Thomas. I think you give a clear overview of what these ongoing calls are about. And now I leave the floor to the participants to raise any questions if should they need any clarification of one of these topics. Lisa, any questions from the audience in the chat?
So I don't see any questions in the chat, but feel free if you have any questions. You can either ask them live or you can write them in the chat. So this is your moment to.
Good morning. My name is Loredana.
Yes, please.
I don't have a question because it is my first time in this field, so I'm trying to understand what it is needed to participate to the call. But I want to thank you and congrats for the clear explanation. It was really useful for me. And now I have to study. I don't know if I'm able to apply, but I want to make my compliments for your explanation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We will be even more happy if you participate.
I will do my best. I'm just thinking that we should. I'm more interested in the first call, but I think that I have to find some colleagues to cover different competence, different expertise. So I think that we should build a good team to participate. So this is the first thing that I thought. Anyway, I'm still thinking to try. Thank you.
And please remember that you can apply only for one lot. So if you have a specialist for one group or for one group, you can apply only for this one.
Another thing is that for example, I think that all the participants are interested in doing the call. So also among us, we can share interest. For example, we can sign our name and contact each other. I think that this could be an idea.
Yes, I think even our colleagues from procurement can give you a bit more information on the possibility of joining forces in the form of consortia. If you have in different member states different competencies and different expertise, you could join forces to address this type of calls. That would even make the work easier for you and maybe more fit for purpose at the end for all the member states. Yeah. But from what you have seen and what you have heard from my colleagues, you can understand how important this activity is to share it with you and to work on it with the member state. If we work in isolation, we will never be able to have a surveillance system that is achievable by the member state. We really want something that is fit for purpose. Therefore, we really need to onboard you, and that was the purpose of this webinar.
A question more, can we have the registration of your presentation so we can share with our colleagues that are not present here now?
Yes, the presentation will be published on the website, and it could be that it would also be visible in the chat usually after the meeting, but in case it's not, you will find it on the website under the respective calls. So perhaps in the chat here now, I can put the links directly to the two calls that we are discussing so that you have them in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, can I? So it's Ricardo Ramiro from Innovplan Protect in Portugal. I'm not sure if I've read some of the text of some of these calls, so I might be messing up in my mind some of the text. But so these calls, both of them, are they to start with to essentially make a list of available organizations that then will be asked to develop particular reports for particular pests, or is this a standard grant that like whoever wins it and goes ahead?
Yes, basically we are seeking for partnership with Article 36 organizations. That are Article 36 organizations are these competent organizations that are listed in the Article 36 of the EFSA founding regulation, and we want to establish a contractual link through this grant with that organization that will perform the tasks together with us to reach our objective and our outputs. Yeah, so it's a privileged. I mean, it's not that we are establishing a list here. We want to seek direct collaboration, a contractor partner.
Okay. Yeah, no, we are Article 36 organization. Yeah, so I think to us eventually the one because our organization really focuses on protection against pests and diseases, right? That's we try to do well, the research we do is in that area, both from a more like developing of new biopesticides, but also from the perspective of trying to develop statistical methods or machine learning methods to do early detection, for example. And to us, I guess the one that would be more interesting is the second call that was mentioned. So it is expected, of course, that like the within, for example, lot 1, that the organization or the consortium that wins it like takes through all the process. So one could divide the tasks to different partners, but all of the tasks have to be achieved within these 24 months, right?
Yes, so we confirm that we are aiming to sign one agreement per lot, and you may apply for one lot or for several lots if you wish. But each lot will have one agreement with either one beneficiary or a consortium of beneficiaries.
Okay.
And the deadline for this grant is 12th of April.
Okay, thank you.
So if you are working on this machine learning and the statistical methods that are related to this pests, I think you could be an ideal candidate, but you have to start preparing the call because it is quite demanding and you need to put together quite some expertise.
Okay, thank you.
There is a question.
Yes, there is a question.
I don't know.
And raised by Dario Ivi.
Dario, the floor is yours.
Well, hello, I have Dario Ivic from the Croatian Agency for Food and Agriculture. I have one practical question. As we've seen in these lots, there are pests, for example, in these cereals of rice and pests of cotton. And in this grape wine, small berries and exotic fruits, you've mentioned banana and mango, if I'm not wrong. In a call, it stated that some knowledge on the production of crops should be proven. So how much is relevant for a member state, for example, if it's Mediterranean member state or if it's a northern member state? Is it relevant whether the crops like rice, banana, mango, and cotton, I think cotton is not grown in Europe, or it's relatively scarce. Is it relevant that these crops should be grown like agricultural crops in a member state? Is it an advantage or disadvantage for this lot? Because, yeah, it's stated that some knowledge on the production of crops should be proven. So, for example, now we have grapevine, okay, raspberry, strawberry. These are grown all over Europe, but also there is a pest of banana and pest of mango. And in these cereals with wheat, there is no problem, but one pest is a pest of cotton and the other pest are pest of rice. So I suppose that, yeah.
If I may answer, thank you for the question, Dario. Of course, mango is a marginal crop in the EU. Of course, banana in continental EU, we don't grow it. Maybe there is some anecdotal greenhouse with some banana. Cotton is a crop in the EU, and rice is also a crop in the EU. We will never exclude a candidate because he's not in the mango production. He has no experience on mango production. But what is very clear, if you are applying for a call on fruit-bearing vegetables, if in your member state you don't produce greenhouse crops like tomato, cucurbitacea, and so on, you don't have the expertise in-house. And that was what we wanted to ensure here. We wanted to ensure that the organization that applies is in a member state where they have a concern for that crop and they have an interest in that crop. And of course, therefore, they have built a certain level of expertise on that crop. Okay, that is the principle that we have behind. I hope this addresses your question.
There might be the consortium.
Thank you very much.
That together they have this.
Yeah, and of course you can always, like my colleague here is suggesting to say, is that you can always build a consortium where you can bring together the different member states or different institutions of member states where the expertise is present. I imagine in Slovenia they have a very good expertise on hop, and in other countries they have on other fiber or cereals and so on. So if you are able to bring together the expertise of different member states, it will make you stronger in the applications. And I take the opportunity to greet Luca that I see on the screen. Hello, Luca.
Hello, back to you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions before we close this info session? Otherwise, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, you will find the video and also question and answers under the respective calls that I have published here in the chat. You might also want to share this information and the video with any colleagues you might have, or if you know anyone in your institution that is interested. We are happy if you would share this information. Subren, would you like to add anything before we close?
Yes, I think it is a very important opportunity for all of us to collaborate on this topic. We would like to improve our way to outreach with you on this type of important subjects. And therefore, it's very important that we get your feedback on the calls. If you think they lack clarity, if you think the deadlines are not realistic, if you think whatever you feel could be improved here on these grants, it's good that you highlight it to us through the procurement mailbox. You inform us what are the constraints that you feel are preventing you from applying to these calls. So it's very important for us to be able to work with you, and therefore, if we can improve, we will improve to make it easier for you to work with us. And I take the opportunity to thank you all for your attention, and hope you will be numerous in participating to future calls. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with this, we close this meeting. Thanks a lot, and we wish you a nice day.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.